All right, let's get into this.
Hey y'all, I saw this video of Kai Cenat show.
You said y'all. It feels weird coming from him, and it's not just because he's not Southern. Maybe it is because he's not Southern. I don't know. Am I being racist? Can people who are not white say y'all and not sound weird? I feel like I could hear a black person say y'all, and that would be fine. Somehow it feels strange coming from this guy. It's not a race thing, it's an individual thing.
Casing his
I take it back. Maybe it is racial. I'm not for sure.
hate wall, which is literally a wall in his studio where he posts some of the most.
For those of you who don't know, Kai Cenat is a Twitch streamer, I think. Very popular. One of the most popular, I think.
Vitriolic things that people say about him. People telling him to quit, that he's trying too hard, what he does is cringe, everything he does is performative.
Well, I would agree with the cringe part. I don't know about the performative part. But a lot of what those streamers do, it's kind of like Mr. Beastify. There's a weird type of thing where it feels like quite often you sacrifice uniqueness for the sake of like mass appeal. I've said this. The reason why I don't trust popular people in general is because no one like naturally has that broad of an appeal. That's my theory. That in order to have that broad of an appeal, you have to deaden a lot of the sharp edges that you have, and just turn yourself into this kind of shallow, amorphous. Okay, people will like this type of thing. Like again, you have to you have to become very. I don't know. You get what I'm saying.
And this is a little bit weird because most of us spend a lot.
Yeah, I guess on principle though, I hate that notion of sacrificing originality for mass appeal. It's just, I'd rather there be parts of you that I don't like. Maybe this is hypocritical. Maybe like in general, I wouldn't necessarily. I guess I don't know if in my personal life. No, I think I would. I think I'd rather there be parts of you that I don't like than have some sort of one-dimensional type of person. That's how people get boring. I do think people aren't boring. They're just acting boring because they think that's what people want, because they're trying to appeal to the masses. They're trying not to offend.
A lot of energy trying to avoid criticism. So today we're going to talk about the psychology.
Sorry.
Performative. And this is a little bit weird because most of us spend a lot of energy trying to avoid criticism. So today we're going to talk about the psychology of hate, how it affects.
I guess I could agree with that to some extent. It never feels good to be criticized, put it that way.
Affects us, and potentially how to channel it into something good.
I want to show you guys the power to embrace hate. Embracing hate, you guys have found ways to weaponize it.
See, I don't know if I agree with the notion of just getting a hate wall or something. Is my face in the way of his? It is. I think he generally puts his on the right, so I'll stick mine on the other side. All right. The point is, I was saying, like, I think the very notion of taking feedback at all from a whole mass of individuals online cannot be healthy. I'm not saying it's bad to take feedback, but I'd prefer to take feedback from people who genuinely, that I know, care about me, rather than people who may or may not have my best interest at heart. Call me crazy, but you know, that's my hot take.
You guys see this clip?
Well, yeah, I guess.
I used to struggle with like caring about what people thought. So I got a hate wall of all the hate that I received to motivate me even more.
This is from this spring.
Embrace my.
I feel like Italy would not be a bad place to live during the winter. That's like yeah. kind of cool to live in some place that isn't wintry in winter. I guess I don't know. Is Italy, southern Italy, that feels like that's right on the Mediterranean. So I don't know if they would get a lot of like really harsh winters.
Laws and found ways.
Maybe just like a more regular day-night cycle would probably be better.
You know, to
Interesting. He talks about embracing his flaws.
make amazing things.
Eh. And the whole notion of maybe embracing is the wrong word. Like I guess maybe I'm misunderstanding what he's trying to say, but I guess again, I think I've said stuff like this before. I think the notion of accepting yourself for who you are, and then trying to improve, trying to make yourself better. Yeah, if you can manage both of those things, great. But if you're just like, I need to embrace myself for who I am, like, don't excuse mediocrity in yourself. Put it that way.
They don't believe until you make it cool.
So what I really love about this is to understand what hate is and to understand what.
Oh, there was another thing I was thinking of too. Like, it feels like, like with regards to people online, I do think as soon as there's a movement with regards to you, you probably want to devalue the individual opinions of everyone inside of that movement. I tend to think like if 1 million people are telling you you're great and you're the most wonderful thing on the planet, that is roughly equal to one individual saying, "Hey, you're pretty good. You're pretty good." Because a lot of those people are just jumping on the bandwagon. It's not like each of those people are individually and independently ascertaining that you are a good person and you're great and you're wonderful. A lot of that is kind of probably some of the hype that's built up around you. And if 1 million people, antithetically to that, if 1 million people are telling you you suck, again, probably that opinion is roughly equal to one individual or character type of individual saying, hey, you suck. Right? That's approximately the value you should probably attribute to that type of thing. Because again, it's not a whole bunch of people. Maybe they think that's the case. Though it feels like quite often a large part of why they're coming to that conclusion is because they've seen all of these other people come to the same conclusion already. There's only one person that made the first comment, probably. There's only one person that came to that conclusion, perhaps independently of outside forces. All right.
What are the possible ways that you can deal with hate? Okay, so first thing to understand is hate is when someone, it's not anger, right? Anger is like diffuse. Anger is like, I can be angry at the rain, but I don't hate the rain.
Yeah, that's true.
If I develop a hatred for the rain, that requires a personification of it, right?
Yeah, I hadn't really ever thought of that. It does almost seem to require that type of thing where you are personifying it.
The rain is not a
What does that say about Misotheists?
force of nature. It is like a
I guess I tend to think that a number. I think there are. I think there are like logical atheists, but I think a non 0% portion of them are just people who are kind of have a bipolar reaction to bad Christianity and kind of go into the realm of you don't exist.
thing that is in my life.
I think a non-insignificant portion of atheists are just misotheists. Okay. What? Yes, I just went there.
That is actively trying to harm me. So the first thing to understand is like
that is kind of the important distinction there, like actively trying to harm you. Like you don't really get mad at celestial forces for acting indiscriminately upon reality. You just don't. But if someone slaps you in the face and tells you that you suck, and then steals your girlfriend and burns down your house, and runs your car off a bridge, that's kind of pointed, right? It's a very pointed, purposeful action taken against you. There's a difference in the way we perceive those things. That's something obvious to say, but like it is.
The difference between anger and hate is anger is an emotion activated in the amygdala. Hate is personal. Hate requires a me and hate requires a you, right? This particular person is doing this particular thing to me. And when someone...
Well, for that matter, like, it has to be intentional, I think, on the part of the other person, I think more so. Like if you believe a person is accidentally doing something, if it's just random, if it is just like not something they're willfully doing, I think it has to be intentional on their part.
And sends hate our way, there are a lot of different ways we can deal with it.
Because like if it is just random, then again it falls in the category of like you can be angry at it, but you don't hate them. It falls into the category of celestial force acting upon both of you technically, because they're not trying to do it; it's just happening randomly. There's some sort of accident that occurs because of whatever.
A really common one that I deal with as a psychiatrist is people internalize it. You're at school, I certainly did. You're at school, people call you a loser, and if people call you a loser, that means I'm a loser.
You're a loser, Dr. K.
Right? You get bullied at school.
You have a weird looking dinosaur turtle. I was looking at this in the background. I don't know what it is exactly.
Maybe you're
I was thinking, like, you know what's also a little bit strange is that everyone has a different level of what they're willing to accept as random and what they are willing to attribute intent to, I think. Like, I think I've mentioned this before, but even, like, within Christian circles, there would be people who would attribute spiritual forces to certain things, and there would be other people who wouldn't. I tend to think this. There are statistics that would seem to indicate that a lot of like women, just in general, more spiritual than men, right? More likely to be religious than men as well. I believe, and in my experience, perhaps not as varied as it should be, women are more likely to attribute, devilish forces are doing whatever thing than I would be. So comparatively, I would be a skeptic with regards to some of that stuff. They're the real Christians. They're the real ones who attribute that type of stuff to that type of stuff. I guess I don't know exactly what governs that though. Like, what is it that governs our ability to how we analyze behaviors and to whether or not that can just be some sort of celestial force acting indiscriminately versus some singular force acting with singular intent or purpose? I don't know. Women are weird anyway, so maybe that's just it.
parents are like, oh yeah, you're like not like there's golden boy, golden child, and black sheep. You're not like your older brother. You're not like your older sister. They're so much smarter than you, so much better than you. It's terrible, but sometimes parents play favorites. So the first thing that we can do is receive the hate. Like, hey, bring it in. You hate me? Okay. This becomes my truth. And we're not stupid for doing this. This is how we've evolved, right? So human beings have evolved to be sensitive to the opinions of others because we're a communal species. And unless you pay attention to what people think and you can adjust that in some way, you'll get kicked out of the tribe and you can't survive as a human on your own. First thing we do is internalize it. And now someone said, but we can use it as fuel, right? But that too, hate can be used by us in a couple of different ways. So in sort of this like narcissistic picture, when someone sends negativity your way,
Who's calling Kyson a narcissist? Just saying.
they become the victim. And they
Sorry, no, I don't know. We'll see where it's going.
use their victimhood for their benefit. Oh my God, this person hates me. Oh, I'm such a victim in this scenario. They're
Oh, never mind. Kysonet's doing something different.
trying to take me down, and there's the good side and the bad side. There's the Jedi and the Sith hate the Jedi, and that means like it's like I'm part of the force of good. Hate becomes a representation of evil. We're not going to take what they say seriously, by the way, right? If we're being narcissistic.
Well, there seems to be, I think, this notion of hate. I think it, maybe to some extent, logically, I think the very notion of a person hating you is inverse. It's like inversely related to persuadability. The more you distrust a person, the more you think that they hate you or that they are your enemy, that they won't labor for your well-being. It mitigates like our ability to be persuaded by them. Right? There's a lot of things that you would listen to from a friend, from someone who genuinely does care about you and you perceive to be a person who cares about you, that you would not accept from either a stranger because there's some level of just mistrust there in general, or a person who genuinely does not like you, who you know doesn't like you. I don't remember where I was going with this. I think I lost whatever it was.
About it. If they're criticizing me, that means they are bad. They are expressing words to me in an angry or hateful way. That means they are wrong.
Oh, I guess maybe I was saying that I think there are a lot of reasons we learn to say things, or I don't know if excuse is the right way, to justify not listening to people who dislike us. So maybe that's the way. And I don't know if it's necessarily unwarranted either, but it does feel like it can kind of turn on a dime a little bit. Like you could maybe see it expressed perhaps most evidently in romantic relationships, where you have a person who previously you had this very high regard to, and you would, like, maybe that's where you'd see the duplicity involved a little bit more viscerally displayed, because you have someone who 5 seconds ago you really liked them, you really cared about them, and you listened to everything they say about you, but now you kind of have to pull back from that in no uncertain terms from that relationship because it went south, and you kind of have to find a way to not value their opinion of you at this point because they're saying all these terrible things about you or something.
Second thing we can do is kind of play victim. Third thing that we can do is have it galvanize us, right? These people, and this is sort of, I think, what...
Okay.
Expressing words to me in an angry or hateful way, that means they are wrong. Second thing we can do is kind of play victim. Third thing that we can do is have it galvanize us, right?
I forgot what the first thing was.
These people, and this is sort of, I think, what Kai is sort of alluding to, is that he embraces the hate, right? He's going to prove these people wrong. All these people are sending anger his way, hate is his way. And he's like, I'm going to prove them wrong, right? I'm going to show them. I use this as motivation.
I'm not saying it's necessarily the worst thing in the world, but it does feel like it's a little bit, I don't know. I feel there were maybe better ways to handle that. Again, like the notion of taking feedback from the whole swath of people online who, like, it doesn't feel like they necessarily are either truthful or honest or even insightful in their critiques of you. You're a person that they've seen online. I feel like it's much better to have people around you who do know you for who you really are and take feedback from those people and just ignore the rest of them. And again, there's that thing, appealing to the masses. Like, it feels like you sacrifice some degree of originality in an attempt to appeal to all of these individuals, if that's who you're taking feedback from, if that's who you're trying to impress.
Ow, like, think about it for a second, right? Because sometimes, like, it causes us to fall apart, and other times, like, he goes into that room and he looks at that and think about what emotions does that evoke. Does he feel bad about himself, right? So this is what's really important. We don't know exactly what's going on with Kai, but I think it's a good principle. So I want y'all to think about this for a second, right? When I evoke, not embrace, when I evoke the feelings of hate, I'm going to make a wall of all the people that dislike me, okay? And when I make that wall, I'm going to go and I'm going to look at it every day. And I want you to think, what does this do to you? Why would you do this? And this is where we get to that component of hate is personal. So they are persons and I am a person.
See, I don't know if it comes back to that. Do these people really know you? Is it personal? I guess they hate the idea of you. They hate your online persona, perhaps. Or maybe they're just trying to do it for the lulz. But it was like, regardless, like, how insightful can they be upon you and, like, your character?
I'm over here, they're over here. So we can use that hatred of, like, okay, the way that we respond to it, I'm going to prove them wrong. This still becomes about my ego, though. I'm going to prove them wrong, right? Like, they're wrong, I am right. And I'm going to show them that. And that can be useful, right? It can galvanize us into action. As someone said, we're going to repurpose hate as motivation, also based in the ego. But I think there's one way that is even better than that, even healthier than that. And that is to...
What is it? To truly understand hate.
to understand what hate truly is. So this is what I want y'all to think about. Kai right now,
Sorry, I'm acting melodramatic. I'm sure I imagine it would probably be better.
I think he's trying to start a clothing line. I don't know the details or whatever, right? And I think he's taking a step back from streaming.
We'll see if it's better.
So what is it about him that people hate? Why does this
He's black
particular
and young. For the record, I hate young people too. I find them annoying.
thing
And he's high energy. That might be part of it.
result in this response, right? So if we
And he has a mustache. You know, somehow I think black people would actually maybe be better at pulling off mustaches than white guys. I think that could maybe be the case. Anyway, and yeah.
we really want to understand
try.
hate, and if you guys want to be able to utilize hate, control hate, even channel it even more, because using your ego, engaging in the ego is a problem, because then it becomes about me and you. I'm going to prove them wrong. But then you're opening
Yeah, you suck. I'm gonna prove you. No.
yourself up to a very dangerous game, because now it's me against you. And what if it doesn't go well? Then they win and you lose, right? And then if you win, they lose, and then you feel really good, but you're kind of creating this conflict. So if you guys really want to
There's kind of a weird thing. Like, it feels like most conflicts, once they reach a very visceral, spiteful level, they kind of involve like a non-zero sum type of scenario. Generally, like, I think the principle of like negotiation or persuasion, and the advantage in that is that most of the time you can come to a mutually beneficial solution. People don't necessarily have to lose when you're dealing in persuasion, when you're dealing in whatever. But if there is like a genuine conflict, whatever one person gains, if there's like an aggressive conflict, whatever one person gains, it feels like the other person loses. Very inferior sort of way of solving problems in general. War is bad. Just saying it. I'm just gonna straight up say it. War is bad.
understand hate, if you want to master hate, what we got to do is look at the comments themselves. I keep seeing comments. Dr. K, how do I apply this to a situation in my life? That's literally why we created a coaching program. Our coaches are certified on an evidence-based curriculum designed to help you get and working with you week. Check out the link in the description below. So this is the first thing to understand about like hate, right? So is check out the link in the description below.
There you go.
So this is the first thing to understand about like hate, right? So is it's not always triggered by everything, even by certain people. If somebody hates you, there's something about you that triggers them. And that is very important information. What people don't.
That's another one. Like, it does feel like it's strange. Like, what is it that causes people to have a glitch about whatever thing? Like, what is it that causes them to have certain pet peeves? I don't know. Maybe it's a thing where like everyone has just different ones. Because I think sometimes it's a little bit. Sometimes you don't always see the danger or the bad in the thing until you see it taken to its extreme. Because everyone's lived like different lives, because everyone's had these different experiences, maybe that's just the case, that people just do have different things that they dislike to different degrees. I don't know.
Don't ask is, why does this person hate me? What is it about me that this person truly hates? And if we look at the comments, we can get an insight into that. And then we'll understand something very interesting about hate. So let's take a look. Hard to watch. He's trying too hard. Another.
I haven't watched a lot of Kai Cenat stuff, mostly probably just clips or whatever. But I could see that.
Quick cash grab, put some holes in sweaters and stitch some trash leather together and sell it to a bunch of kids. Doesn't someone dress him up? The stuff that y'all throw on him make y'all close y'all's eyes and call it style. What you yourself is wearing is ugly. You want to do baggy, do early 2000s. This is ugly. Corny, bro. Ignore the.
I remember when baggy pants used to be all the rage.
So here's what I want y'all to think about for a second. Why?
I've heard also the notion that like fashion is cyclical, so hey, never know.
Why are these people bothered by this? What difference does it make to them? He's trying too hard. What is their criticism? What is the criticism here? Literally spelled out. He's trying too hard. why on earth would someone trying too hard result in somebody else hating you? Have you guys thought about this ever? Right? What do y'all think? Okay, someone's saying they're jealous. Jealous of what? What are they jealous of? Fine, it's envy. We detect that, right?
No, I do think there can be kind of a, I don't know. I feel like it would be possible to hate someone for trying too hard. It's like if you're telling a joke and then you have to explain the joke and tell everyone to laugh. It's like maybe the argument would be that it feels inauthentic what he's doing. I assume that's maybe the point they're trying to make. I guess I don't know.
They feel it's unfair, threatens their own sense of self. Very good. Okay, so this is beautiful. I love this. You guys are so good.
I wish he had it. Well, I think sometimes he does have his chat on screen, but in this case, no.
So this is the really interesting thing that I think people
Or maybe they cropped it down for the video. I don't know.
don't realize about hate. The number one reason that people will hate you, and I really believe this, okay, this is not a hyperbole, is that they see in you a capability that you are fulfilling that they are failing to fulfill. Because
That's true. Maybe that's why I hate him. No, I don't really. To be clear, I don't hate Kai Cenat. I don't really think of him that much. But maybe my dislike for people who are. I don't think I dislike people who are high energy. I tend to think I'm very lackadaisical in my approach to most things.
so let's just think about this for a second. So Kai is a very successful streamer. I'm sure he has plenty of money. And what is he doing? Is he retiring to a yacht?
Well, I guess with regards to myself, on principle, I tend to dislike popular people. So maybe that's a part of it too for people, that he is popular and just as a contrarian social tick they have, they just, their automatic reaction is to write a mean comment. Needs to be taken down a peg. Everyone else likes this guy. I need to. I could see that. I could see that being annoying, just on principle.
And playing video games all day and getting high, or like, what is he doing? What is he doing? He's stepping away from his career, entering an entirely new field that he has no experience in. I don't know too much about Kai, so some of these statements could be wrong. I don't really know. And he's like, hey, I'm going to try to do this thing because I'm passionate about it. I'm stepping outside of my comfort zone. I'm leaving all of my success behind. I'm forging into new territory, and I'm going to give something a shot. And oh my God, do people hate him for that. And so I once had a
Yeah, they do.
patient who was literally morbidly obese. This is a medical diagnosis. BMI of like 36 to 38 somewhere is where she started. So
I don't know what BMI is, but I know what morbidly obese is.
this was back when I was working at Mass General Hospital in kind of a community health center. So low socioeconomic status, poor, lived in Boston. So one of these like, Irish Catholic people who had been in Boston for years.
Your Boston accent is terrible. I'm not saying mine would be good, but gotta get some crazy. No, what is Boston? I'm thinking of doing something from New York. I'm thinking. Yeah, I'm walking here. That's the only thing I can think of, which is probably the most cliche thing ever, but you need to work on that, Dr. K.
A lot of alcoholism in the family, a lot of obesity in the family, a lot of abuse in the family. Diagnosis of PTSD comes to me, and I try to help her lose weight because we're like working on her confidence. And so then what she starts to do is she goes home and she says, I'd like to start trying to eat a little bit healthier. And her parents are like, that's wonderful. And then she starts to do it, and they hate her for it.
Because they're okay.
I don't know if you guys have ever seen this, but like when you make healthy food choices, have you guys ever noticed that there's some people in your life that really try to sabotage you? Like they really hate you for it. They're like, why are you doing that? Like you can have a sweet. It's okay. Like you eat healthy all the time. You eat so healthy. Eat the brownie. You can afford to eat the brownie. Like what?
That's the problem, I think. Like, I guess I'm no expert in this whole thing, but it feels like quite often when you're trying to create a hard and fast rule, the reason why you can keep saying no with regards to whatever addiction or tendency you're dealing with, whatever habit you're trying to break, the reason you can keep saying no is because you never say yes, right? the more you make exceptions, the harder that rule is to maintain and to justify in your head. You have to try and you have to create some sort of rule about the exception, and it just feels like it kind of breaks down the whole thing. Again, the reason why you can keep saying no is because you never say yes. I think that's kind of unfortunately the way it works, especially with regards to things where you have a really almost insurmountable instinctive drive involved. It feels like that is kind of the way it has to be.
What are you worried about? You look great. Eat the brownie. Why don't you eat the brownie? I'm okay not eating the brownie. It's okay. Like, yeah, I know I eat healthy, but like, I'm okay without it. Eat the brownie. It like triggers people so hard. Someone in my life has recently decided to become vegan for health reasons. And boy, does it trigger the F out of the people around, right? It's almost like they try to...
To be fair, there are stereotypes about vegan people, but, you know, maybe they're very nice.
Sabotage you. And that's what happened with my patient. People tried to sabotage her. It got to the point where when there was healthy food, she would buy a bag of literally baby carrots, a 5-pound bag of baby carrots or something like that. She came in one day and she's like, look, they threw out the baby carrots. And I was like, where did the baby carrots go? And they're like, oh, they looked like they were spoiled. They had a weird smell. Mom threw out the baby carrots. Why? So this is the key thing to understand. If people hate you,
I thought they just explained why. But
there are a couple of things that you can you're like, oh my God, I used to care what people think. Now I use it to fuel me. There's a layer even beyond that, in my opinion. Understand that they are seeing something in you that they are reacting to. The reason they hate you is not because they think you can fail. They hate you because they think you can succeed. They're worried that you're going to succeed. And it's fine. Like, they can rationalize out, right? Like, oh my God, this person is a successful influencer. They have so much money. They're so successful. That's why they have a car and I don't have a car. There's something really interesting, because remember, hate is about identification, personification. It's a relationship. And this is what they do.
Yeah, I agree with that a lot. I feel like it's very easy for people to start with an emotion and then come up with a lot of logical reasons as to why they feel this way about blank thing. But I guess I think you can go too far in that in trying to just say, oh, it's their problem. It's not my problem. It's their problem. There are legitimate reasons why people might dislike you. So I don't think you can disregard it out of hand. Anyways, that's that video, The Cost of Attention by Dr. K, aka Healthy Gamer GG, who also has Discord you can look up if you want. I think it was there on screen.